welcome to our Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. My name is Chris Fortunato. I'm Blair's very proud head of school. Today we honor athletes for their excellence, and not only for the records that were broken or the titles that were won, or even rings that were earned, though they are impressive and varied across a multitude of sports. We honor them for their grit and tenacity, their love of sport and their teammates, their integrity and their spirit. On a personal note, I'm proud and excited to welcome a group of impressive inductees who include not only an NBA player and coach, but also Blair's first alumni trustee, who's also a good friend. A former colleague with whom I've had the pleasure of working during her Blair teaching and coaching career, and a standout athlete whose name adorns a Patriots jersey that my son might be wearing at this moment. One of the things I continue to love about Blair Athletics is our belief and our commitment that every student, whether they are national champions or whether they've never kicked a soccer ball before, that they can get better, and they can grow, and they can contribute to the brotherhood and sisterhood of their teams, no matter how many wins or losses that are achieved. Our inductees today are models of that spirit, and people we are proud to call Blair Buccaneers for life. It is my pleasure now to invite one of the architects of Blair Athletics, whom I am privileged to work with, himself a celebrated coach and athlete, Paul Clavel, to begin today's ceremony. Paul.
Thank you, Chris. And again, welcome friends, family, alumni, and members of the Board of Trustees to the 4th Blair Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Again, my name is Paul Clavel, Director of Athletics, and I'm also a proud Blair alum, class of 1988. The purpose of the Blair Athletic Hall of Fame is to recognize and honor those alumni and coaches whose athletic accomplishments have been of the highest caliber and have brought great credit to Blair Academy. Today, we will recognize and honor 5 former Blair athletes who have been the foundation of the great athletic tradition. These athletes have demonstrated competitive excellence in a number of ways while wearing the Blair blue and white. Before we recognize the inductees, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee of Craig Hall, Chief Advancement Officer, Jim Frick, Chief Operating Officer, Daniel Costantino, Athletic Administrative Assistant, Sean Murphy, Director of Alumni Relations, Brian Antonelli, Assistant Director, Athletic Director in Blair Class of 1993, Rhett Morosis, Blair Class of 2013, and Sports Information Director, as well as an additional selection committee of former athletic directors, John Frere, Dan Hazen, and Jim Stone, President of the Board of Governors in Blair Class of 1969, Bob Van Stone, former Director of Alumni Relations, Jenny Main, and longtime coaches and teachers, Marty Miller and Karen Gordon-Browse, Blair Class of 1979. Thank you for all your work. I would also like to take this opportunity to give a special thanks to our librarians, Ann Williams, Holly Newcomb, and Olga Brasidas, for their time and work researching the archives. While considering many of the nominated athletes for the Blair Hall of Fame, it's amazing to read all the accolades, records, and achievements for all the individuals. This year's class was no exception. I am thrilled to present another extraordinary group of Blair alums who have competed at a high level in many different sports at Blair, in college, and beyond. It's not that often a high school inducts a professional athlete into the Hall of Fame, but today, Blair will have 2. It is with great pleasure that today we will acknowledge Gerald Knapp, class of 1954, Erne Cramer, class of 1975, Melissa Paul Erne, class of 1996, Royale Ivey, class of 2000, and Dion Lewis, class of 2009. And now, to present today's first inductee, Gerald Knapp, is Bob Van Stone. Bob, as I stated, is a Blair alum, class of 1969, and currently the President of the Board of Governors. Bob Van Stone.
Good morning, everybody. When Jenny Main volunteered me for this job, she was a worker in Michigan until volunteered. I thought it was a football story. If you look up there, for the football champions. You'll see in 1951 and 1954, Blair had all-state teams. Both of those teams were undefeated, untied, and basically unscored upon. So I immediately thought, when I heard that Jerry was the class of 54, that this was a football story, but there's a lot more to that. However, Jerry arrived at Blair from Watertown High as an all-state New York football player with the nickname Watertown Flash. His second day on campus, at the second practice, his team immediately made him a co-captain. He played offensive and defensive end. Defensively, he played left end for the first game of the year against Erne, and they ran 7 plays to his side in the first half. 6 of them were for losses. They never ran another play to the left side. Coach Cook, realizing this was happening, kept switching him back and forth from left end to right end, and they never ran it. So basically, Jerry was unblockable. His team, during that period of time, the domination of that era, Blair in their petty rivalry outscored Petty 212 to 15 in the 5 years. And where I come from, that's a beautiful thing. Jerry's year was 32 to 6. So that's defense. He actually became an all-state player on defense. Not all prep. He was all-state New Jersey defensive end. On offense, he played end, and in those days, before there were face guards on the helmets, 99% of the plays were running plays. So he did a lot of blocking on offense. However, Steve Cook knew what he had, and at least once or twice a game, he would call an end around to Jerry Knapp. And in the Blair Breezes that we found, there's always a line that said, and in the second half, Jerry Knapp ran for 45 yards on the end around for a touchdown. Jerry Knapp ran for 36 yards on the end around for a touchdown. Jerry Knapp ran for 75 yards on the end around for a touchdown. They knew it was coming, and they couldn't stop it. Not only was he unblockable, but he was untackable. So that's a pretty good combination for a football player. So that's pretty much it for football. It's still a football story, but the football season was over. Winter track came in. And it was not all a football story because Jerry was immediately elected co-captain of the track team. And this is also the dark ages. Blair had a wooden track that they assembled. It was on the grounds behind Annie Hall. And it was about an 1/8 of a mile track. So you can imagine Blair was at a disadvantage running against all these prep schools and high schools that had indoor tracks. However, they entered the National AAU Championships at Madison Square Garden versus 30 teams, and Blair won. They were the national champions in winter indoor track in 1953 and 54, which is pretty much unheard of. Jerry Knapp was the only contestant to win 2 events. He was a national champion shot put and long jump. And here is where he received his second nickname. The New York beat writer of the Daily News called him Mr. Decathlon. So the guy is in high school, he's got 2 nicknames, the Watertown Flash and Mr. Decathlon. Pretty spectacular stuff. Winter track is over, spring track starts. He's co-captain again. And I'll just synopsize the last meet of the year. Blair was undefeated in the dual meets. The last meet was against Petty. Petty was also a very good track team. Blair beat them by 50 points. Jerry Knapp was in 6 events. He won the javelin with a throw of 180 feet, which was a school record. He won the shot put 54.5 feet, which is a school record. He won the high jump, 6 feet 2 inches, school record. He won the long jump, 22 feet, 3 inches, the school record. And for the first time in his career, he entered the discus and came in second. Jerry was a stud. There's no doubt about it. 2 quick anecdotes before I introduce some. When I came up with Blair to do some research on him, ostensibly I came to see the Blair at St. Benedict's basketball game. But the librarian, Holly, who went into the archives and found all the stuff, came out, she handed it to me. She said, "I'm in love with Gerald Knapp." And I have to admit, I'm pretty much in love with him too. And this happened. And second of all, the Blair yearbook, I don't know if they still do it, but the editors, I believe, they bequeath every year in the last will and testament for the senior. And Jerry's Knapp's was, Jerry Knapp leaves his ability and sportsmanship to all future Blair athletes. That pretty much closes the deal. Jerry is a great Hall of Famer for Blair Academy, and I'd like to introduce his son Ken, who's going to fill you in a little bit about his non-Blair career.
Brought his yearbook, so I brought him with me. Sorry. Yeah, the Watertown Flash was his nickname for us was Dad. Well, let me tell you, when I got the email talking about this event, it was in our North Country Twitter, which is frozen outside. And I was sitting in the chair watching TV, and I happened to look at the email, and I was blown away. There's an email from Blair announcing this, and of course, a couple minutes later, my wife's asking me, "What's wrong? What is wrong?" Because I was totally overcome with emotion. I mean, I had tears rolling down my face. I'm like, wow, somebody remembered my dad. And this has been a really great experience for our family, because to be able to walk through the halls, I mean, it's kind of a journey down a memory lane, down the shape, but it really is. I mean, it's, when I've been walking around, you really feel the place. This is a part of life my dad had that us kids, we never engaged about. Blair was, for us, Blair was this. That's all we had, Because my dad did a lot of stuff, so we do all kinds of stuff. Yeah. So this has been a great experience. And he went on from Blair, of course, to go to Cornell, where he had the same kind of athletic career. Of course, his athletic career was kind of cut short because he got some pretty serious injuries, because of back in those days he wore a piece of leather in your head for a helmet and that kind of stuff. So that kind of, he went from Olympic prospect, an NFL prospect to, well, he's kind of injured. So he actually took all of that athletic, that drive, that thing that made him so successful, he took it to the corporate world. And by the time it was about 1970 or so, he was the vice president of Marriott Corporation. He was an extremely successful corporate executive. And a lot of that came from some of it was reflective of his athletic career. I mean, the guy, you told him if you dig that mountain, he would start. No hesitation. There wasn't any mountain he would climb, essentially. After, well, it was about the mid-70s, we decided that I wanted to take my kids and family back up north. We were living in Washington, D.C. at the time. We had back up north of Watertown, where we grew up there. And, he was just an amazing guy. He was a truly amazing guy. I'm so proud of him. I'm so glad to be here. So glad you guys did this, because it really drives home a part of our father that we really didn't know. Some of the stuff Bob just said, I'm like, really? Wow. Because he was an incredible athlete. And part of some of the crazy stories, you're talking about a man who grew up the 8th child of the 9 kids. Family with depression, but had absolutely nothing. They had very little at all. So for that guy from Watertown High to end up at Blair Academy, it was like, how? And basically he was recruited by Cornell final year. And that kind of would be a good statement of yeah, what you saw Blair, that was real because we had him recruited by Ivey school when he was a junior in high school. So I could go on forever, but I tell you, everything you just heard about his athletic career, that translated it through life. And he kind of laid out an example for us as kids, you know. I mean, when you got a job to do, whether it's about to win the game, jumping a hurdle, or tackling, whatever it is, you do it and you throw 110%. I think, and that's why I was so amazed about somebody to keep tweeting to Blair. That is it. Just give 110%. And when you're done with 110%, you give it to him. And you know what? He's just an amazing guy. So I'm so, like I say, I was pretty overwhelmed with the emotions of this game. Trying to because it's tough. I mean, we're walking around in the hall. It's like, this is so good. So, you know, unfortunately, he died young, but you know what? He was a tough guy, and he was well loved, and I'm so glad that he was so well loved down here. I mean, this is amazing. So, humbly on behalf of this guy here, you know, and the family, we accept this induction. I want to thank you.
Presenting for Cramer is Carolyn from 40 Browse. Carolyn, again, is a Blair alum, class of 79. She is currently Blair's Director of Leadership Programs, an English teacher, and varsity softball coach for the past 32 years. Carolyn.
It's indeed my honor to introduce Cramer, class of 75. In 1975, only 270,000 girls approximately played high school sports in the United States. Today, over 270,000 play in New Jersey alone, and 3.5 million in the United States approximately. Certainly those enormous benefits of Title IX, but in the 1970s it was an entirely different climate for women in sports and girls in sports. I arrived at Blair just after Anne graduated, and she was definitely, absolutely central to the establishment of Blair girls sports as a heroic endeavor, as the avenue to success in life. And when we arrived here, we heard Anne's name all the time. Linda Novosinski, Laura Cochran, Anne Cramer. Janet Jones. We heard those names as these larger-than-life figures who chased after perfectionism in all areas, who were competitive and driven and just tenacious and tough. Certainly thanks to the work of Janet Hutchinson and A.J. Frere and Rick Stoll, the Blair Girls Sports programs were successful right out of the gate. They dominated, and they dominated because of the likes of Anne and her teammates and their commitment. She was described as all aces by John Frere. He said she was excellent at everything she did. She was everywhere a girl could be in the Blair sports scene, captain of hockey and softball teams, and one of the few girls competing on the ski team. She went on to compete at Dartmouth. Jan Hutchinson describes her as absolutely instrumental in the success of any team, any class, any organization she was involved in. Perfectionist, competitive, driven, Anne's work in all areas indeed makes her then and now the ultimate role model. She continues to be a trailblazer in her work. She's the first Blair woman alumna to win the Citation of Merit, a longtime trustee, and committed to Blair athletics, girls and boys, in her entire career. It's my honor to introduce Anne Cramer, class of 1975.
an honor certainly to be part of this very talented class of inductees. It's kind of hard to imagine my name in the same sense as individuals who have gone on to professional sports success, so I'm truly humbled. But in a lot of ways, I've just been perhaps lucky and have had the benefit of being at the right place at the right time. So, you know, starting from being, the youngest kid in a family of 4, you know, being the youngest gives you a lot of motivation for success and probably gives you a bit of competitive drive before you even land on your feet. I am very grateful that Blair went co-ed in the early 70s. You know, we take it for granted. Not an easy decision, I'm sure, for the school, and it took a lot of dedication and work. And there's some folks in this audience who probably were part of that effort early on. I'm very grateful to my parents. My father's here today, that they were willing to give me the opportunity of attending Blair. And so, you know, that ended up launching me in many regards to a life that might have been different, or I think anyway, that if I had not had this opportunity. Girls sports in the 70s, we were in the beginning, and it was a building. And very much Jan Hutchinson, the fact that Blair brought her here, she is just, first of all, an amazing coach. And so to have her for the field hockey and softball teams, and a very important role model and mentor. And so at that time to have this very professional, tough, accomplished athlete to look up to, who was making sure that we were trying to perform our best in each competition, was really inspiring, and she taught us a lot. Certainly she taught us to win gracefully and also to lose gracefully, which is often tough to do. I also have to give a shout out to Larry Jolie. He headed up the Blair's ski program and brought girls into the program right away. The fact that he coached the team and coached us through some pretty decently hardcore training, so that when we hit the snow, we actually had some strength, was particularly remarkable because he was an individual who had been injured and himself really was not able to ski and enjoy the sport that he so loved. And his gusto for making sure that we got out there and had a great experience, including driving us through the night so that several of us could get to an invitational event in Waterville Valley in a snowstorm, was really a huge commitment and just showed that his love both of the students and sports world, and just making sure that we had introductions to so much. So today I'm very proud to be part of the beginning of a very awesome sports tradition, and seeing so many girls here excel and the program expand, and just be, wow, so many talented people that have come through certainly the buildings, both next door and here. And I'm very completely overwhelmed to be part of that. So thank you today for this honor.
And now to present Melissa Paul Erne is Sarah O'Neill. Sarah is currently Blair's field hockey and girls lacrosse head coach. She has been a teacher and coach at Blair for 14 years. Sarah?
I am deeply moved to speak today on behalf of Blair Athletics to introduce my dear friend and former colleague. Melissa Erne, formerly Melissa Paul, class of 1996, was an exceptional athlete in her years as a student at Blair, who earned just about every distinction possible. 11 varsity letters in field hockey, skiing, and lacrosse, named prizes for all 3 sports in her senior year, the the William Zester Prize as the outstanding female athlete in her class, 2 captainships, leading scorer, record holder, all-prep, all-state, all-maple. The list goes on. Melissa is among the most decorated female athletes in Blair history. She went on to play Division I lacrosse at Cornell University and eventually found herself back here in Blairstown, where she taught photography and commanded the sidelines as head coach of the field hockey and lacrosse teams for 15 years. For 10 of those years, Melissa was my colleague, friend, and mentor. Though she never realized it and would probably never admit it, she taught me so many lessons about what it means to be a strong woman, a caring educator, and a fearless coach. To have shared the sidelines, bus rides, frustrations, and of course many laughs with her for a decade was the single most important part of my growth as a Blair educator, because I got to witness and understand the importance of the qualities that made Melissa such an outstanding athlete, teacher, and coach. Those same attributes that we honor today and that make her a very worthy Hall of Fame inductee this morning. She is relentless in her pursuit of excellence, steadfast in her values, tough as nails, selfless, poised, and humble. So humble, in fact, that I know she's going to hate coming up here in about 15 seconds. But I also know that with these values, she has left an indelible mark on this community as an athlete, educator, colleague, and friend to many, and that honoring her today could not be more fitting. We are ever grateful for her many years of service to Blair. Congratulations, Melissa Erne, on your induction into the Blair Academy Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you to Paul Clavel and the entire selection committee. You are all giants who have affected countless lives. I am honored and completely humbled to be in your presence and in that of the other inductees. Sarah O'Neill, you are not only an Iron woman, you are one of the most thoughtful, perceptive, and inspirational educators and coaches I've known. You helped me grow, and I've always admired your strength and mental toughness. Thank you for your invaluable friendship and for taking the time to introduce me today. I'm proud to have my husband Jeff with me. Jeff is my warrior with a patient heart. He's been inducted into 3 athletic halls of fame in Rochester, New York, and was a college football All-American. He happily commuted 72 miles one way to work in the early years of our marriage living in Annie Hall, and he started his own successful business just over a decade ago in a recession. Jeff, their belief in self has always been unyielding, and it extends to the people you love. I know the loss of your dad not even a year ago was the hardest thing you've ever faced. You did it with bravery and such grace. You honor him every day by being you. My 4-year-old son, Duncan, is also with me today. Duncan is my fearless superhero who climbs the door frames in our home, dropping to the floor with a crash when he reaches the top. He can already carve turns on his skis, and last winter he told me that the remaining brittle leaves on the trees sounded like a waterfall when the wind blew through them. He's my rugged little thinker. I want to recognize and thank my siblings Amy Jablonski and Theo Marcel and their partners Rebecca Jackman and Paul Jablonski, class of 2000, and my niece Harriet Jane Jackman. Amy and Theo graduated from Blair in the class of 1999. They were freshman phenoms on the field when I was a senior, and they combined for a perfect 24 varsity letters. Theo is highly analytical and is insanely good at everything. He's a competitive mountain biker who took every single math class Blair had to offer and then another one with Mr. Browse. Amy is tough-minded and has unparalleled stamina. She can push through anything with a smile on her face. Both have made education the cornerstone of their careers, as Amy, who recently completed the Yale Women's Leadership Program, is Director of Admissions at the Hewitt School in New York City, and Theo, who served as Dean of College Counseling, teaches mathematics at the Commonwealth School in Boston. You guys are the greatest teammates, and I'm so proud to be your sister. I want to thank my parents, Jan and John Paul, for working tirelessly to give us the best educational opportunities. They've been married for 50 years and attended the Blair prom together back in 1965, my dad's senior year. A former Blair board member, my mother, Janet Crawford Paul, whom we endearingly call JCP, left her professional world of power suits back in the 80s to raise us. A former swimming junior Olympian, my mom constantly fostered our love of competition. One of us always had stitches and the pool fence was in perpetual need of repair from lacrosse balls hitting it. In high school, my mom would show up at our games, dressed up, with a huge cup of coffee and a box of Dunkin' Donuts. She was the most vocal of cheerleaders on the sidelines for us and for Blair. I can't begin to calculate the miles she drove to cheer on sidelines or shivered on ski slopes. She's a giver and a fighter. She never expected anything less than our best, and she was always quick to tell us she loved us. My dad graduated from Blair in 1965. He's brilliant and has been working since the age of 14. A naval architect, he has owned multiple engineering businesses and has single-handedly been building a beautiful 60-foot schooner for the past 40 years. This was a 10-year project gone awry because he was so consumed with traveling all over the country working to meet the needs of our young lives. The sacrifices he so silently and selflessly made for us were endless. He has always been quietly but fiercely determined, and his mental and physical strength are immeasurable. My dad begins each morning the way he has for the last 20+ years. 115 push-ups in his office and black coffee to rehydrate. My parents are a great team. They taught us to look at adversity as an opportunity. I remember being frustrated after breaking my wrist at the beginning of lacrosse season. They simply said it was my chance to make my other hand stronger. A year later, when I got my letter from Cornell saying that I was one of the ranked lacrosse players, I knew their pragmatic approach to problem solving had made me better. Hard work was always at the core of my parents' values, and they knew the complexity of a Blair education would offer a skill set for the future and for life. The public aspect of Blair was tough for me. I was reserved and felt very exposed. It was as though the layers were constantly being stripped away and built back up. This organic process never seemed to end. There's such an acute awareness of inward and outward self at Blair, and under Chan and Moni's leadership, the faculty worked tirelessly to help us strike a balance between the two. Blair's resolve to grapple with that balance in each of its students makes it collectively courageous. In that sense, I always knew that competing as a Buccaneer was different. I loved taking the field in my Blair uniform because it stood for a mission that the faculty and my coaches so clearly defined. I believed in the mission and I felt a visceral sense of responsibility to honor it. I had tremendous coaches, Cynthia Allen, who led us to a lacrosse championship, Rob Merrifield, who led us to a skiing championship, and my beloved advisor, Rachel Bryan, who led us to the state finals in field hockey after back-to-back wins over Lawrenceville. I will never forget it. The field was my greatest classroom. It was where I felt the weight of triumphs and failures most deeply. It was freedom, there was no ceiling, and it was the one place I felt whole. I had the opportunity to play with hugely talented people like Kat and Amy Beatty, Karen Kinchesky Standfast, Brett Wiss, and Nicole Armano. Carrie Bavona, Paige Cramer, and I won Blair's first girls skiing championship as seniors. We laughed on rickety blue band rides and had endless chairlift conversations. Carrie was one of the greatest athletes and human beings to pass through Blair. She was kind, strong, and when she ran a 100-yard sprint, it was magic. Word of her passing took my breath away. I am honored to have known her and to have been her friend. As many know, Blair has some strange gravitational force that brings you back. I never would have imagined I'd return at 22, terrified to give my first locker room talk to the field hockey team. Kat Beatty and Carolyn Conforti got me through that first season and challenged me to find my way with a sense of purpose and a sense of humor. They taught me to open my heart. The result was lifelong friendships with people like legendary softball and field hockey player Christina Jambrone. Christina, you were my shotgun seat rider as a student, and now you are my truest and bravest confidant and an aunt to my son. I also want to thank the Stones. It was sitting in Rachel's class that I first felt true potential as a student, and as a faculty member, she helped me navigate one of my most difficult times. While being emotionally agile as part of Blair life, her support made me more resilient. Jim was an intimidating figure as a student. When I returned to teach and coach, I came to learn that while highly demanding, he was kind, fair, and infinitely loyal to his coaches. Together, they pushed me to have the tough conversations that helped me gain confidence. Blair's leadership has always cultivated a culture of trust, where relationships have the freedom to grow to be real and honest. Blair community members are brave because they're not afraid to love. As my parents taught me, love requires great strength, a willingness to give, but it's ever present. I treasure time spent on the field with Sarah O'Neill and Penn Lunger, thoughtful conversations with Kate Sykes, teachers like Robert Cook and Rita Barragona, friends like Brad Strauss and Steph Gilmet, being inspired by Stacy Spring, and the opportunity to work with people like Jesse Jurisic, Lindsay Scott, Sarah Dillon, Council Dawson, Alina Bartolacci, Haven Donovan, Audrey Snyder, Jenna Lubliner, Meredith Berry Toon, and Sarah Marcinson. Blair's Spirit is a collective reflection of the extraordinary people it contains. There is no better place. Thank you, Blair.
And now to present Royal Ivey is Joe Mantegna. Joe is Blair's Associate Director of College Counseling and has been Blair's basketball coach for 21 years. Joe Mantegna.
It's my honor to intro Roy today. I look at him and get emotional. I want to welcome his parents back today. Shelly and I were starting our family when they came into my life. And I remember saying to my wife, they made parenting look so easy with their two sons. And it looks flawless when they do it. And so welcome back to Blair, Rod, and Jennifer. This is not a Lifetime Achievement Award. You can look on the back of the program and see what Roy has achieved as an athlete. We're not here to celebrate Final Fours, 10 years in the league, 37th pick in the draft. Some of you don't know MVP of the New York City Championship. We're not here to celebrate any of that today, in my opinion. This right here is just a celebration of September 1999 to May 2000, when for some reason this dude decided to come to Blair and play for a 30-year-old know-nothing coach at a wrestling school. There are a few people that come into your life over the course of your lifetime, and they change the trajectory of your life. I'm not trying to make a speech about me. I'm just saying this is one of the handful of people that have changed the trajectory of my life. Because of his trust in being the pioneer and the founding father of modern day Blair basketball. What this guy did set the very foundation of the greatness of this program in his 1 year here. He is the single best 17-year-old leader I have ever been around. He got more out of his ability than anyone I ever coached at the college level or 20 years at Blair. And I have never seen someone be so tough and gritty and resilient and at the same time be so joyful. He was an unbelievable combination of New York City toughness and joy. And he still is to this day, and that's why I firmly believe he'll be an NBA head coach sometime in the near future. And the last thing I'll say about Roy before I let him take his stand is this. That 9 months is not just about basketball. This guy had an unbelievable impact at Mason Hall with a group of really impressive post-grads that year. He dressed up like the petty chicken and ran around on petty day. You laugh, but that's an anecdote I share with many of my too cool for school incoming guys. If this dude here, who's the founding father of Blair basketball, can put on the petty chicken uniform for petty day, then you can go to the girls softball game today and cheer them up. We pass down our culture here with stories, those of us that are old. All right? We use storytelling to pass down culture. There are so many Roy stories, none of which I'll share with you today, but that you know I passed those down to my players in 2005 and 2010, 2015 to present day. And that's why he is the pioneer of Blair basketball, and that's why he's still one of the preeminent culture characters of Blair basketball, because I can pass on that legacy of that hugely impactful 9 months. So it is my honor today. And he knows I love him because I tell him all the time. And he knows I'm grateful for him because I tell him all the time. But it is my honor today to announce Royal Ivey, the newest member of the 2019 Blair Athletics Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Coach. I'm humble. It's not about me. It's about gratitude. It's about my family. It's about Blair. What they've done for me in my life. I was supposed to go to Marshall. To the mission, Blair accepted me. And I'm forever humble and thankful for that. I want to start off with my parents, Rod and Jennifer. Artists, that's where I get my style from. My creativity, my inspiration, my drive, my everything. Thank you, Dad, for being my biggest critic, for always telling me I couldn't do it. You weren't good enough. You're not fast enough. You don't jump high enough. I challenge you every day. And I met those challenges. So thank you. Thank you. I want to thank Casey and Lyra, my daughter, my true inspiration, my star. When I look at you, I'm looking at myself. It's a mirror. It's a mirror. It's crazy that I had her years ago. I was so upset because I was in Oklahoma City coaching. And I was talking to Casey, and I was like, Casey, you sure I should get on this plane? She's like, I'll be okay. And I'm like, I'm not going to miss this. I got to get on this plane. So I leave shoot around, I go home, I pack a bag, I try to get to the airport, I miss my flight. And she gives birth to my daughter while I'm flying to New York City. It killed me. But when I saw her for the first time, my breath was taken away. So thank you, Casey, for being a great mother. Thank you for always inspiring me. Thank you for challenging me. I know we go through our stuff, but I love you with family. To my wonderful cousin, Winston, Sally Winston. She graduated 4 years. She's a Blair alumni. Sally, I'm so proud of you. The sky is not the limit. It's just a bird's eye view. You do whatever you want to do in this life. I'm going to live in the now. What's my thing? me how to manage my time. It showed me how to become a leader, what a leader really is. It showed me how to sacrifice. Sacrifice myself for the betterment of everybody else. That's what I try to tell my players. It's about we, not me. It's always about we, never me. To my friends, Adam Andre, you know I'm gonna call you out. Because 20 years ago, during a woman's basketball game, he just learned how to dunk. He went out on the court, practicing his dunks. And Adam went up and missed the dunk and went underneath the rim and shattered the backboard. So they had a picture of girls basketball. So thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam, and Miss Andre, thank you for always taking me into your home when there was closed weekends and I couldn't go back to New York and I was a little homesick. Thanks for always showing me love. That goes a long way, so I'm ever indebted to you. Thank Bessie. Thanks for all the talks. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for listening. Listen. But it's not about me because I wasn't very talented, but I learned that when talent doesn't work, I learned that talent is not innate, it's about deliberate practice. And that's what I brought that today. Because of Lou Alden, when he was 15 years old, he used to wake me up at 6 o'clock every morning. And we used to come to the gym, work on our game. Every single morning for 9 months, that's how I developed my game. That's how I developed my mindset. That's how I developed hard work. And I'm indebted to Lou Alden because he showed me the way. Little kid from Sudan with nothing. Came here with one pair of shoes. Nothing. Showed me what deliberate practice and hard work could do for you in life, in this game of life. So for that, I want to say thank you. But to me, I'm just from humble beginnings. I'm just from humble beginnings. This is a true honor for me to be inducted to this beautiful society, this beautiful institution. And probably for a decade now, I have my little daughter here, hopefully. Hopefully you give me this time too.
And now to present for Dion Lewis is Jim Stone. Jim was Blair's Director of Athletics from 1996 to 2016, as well as the head football and baseball coach. Currently, he is the Director of Athletics at the Canterbury School in Connecticut. Jim Stone.
It's great to be back on campus, see Now I get to speak on behalf of one of the best ever to play on the gridiron for the Bucks, Dion Lewis. We met Dion at a showcase in Massachusetts when one of our assistants brought his film back to me. I watched 3 plays, and that was enough. I immediately called him and got him down to visit with his mom. That was a great day. The next 2 years were outstanding for Blair football. Led by Dion, the team went 17-1 during this time and won 2 Maple championships and a Prep State title. Dion was a special football player. He was extremely talented, had a tremendous work ethic, and he was a great kid. That's a combination you don't see that often. What set Dion apart from others was he outworked everyone else. Yes, he had great ability, but he set a standard for others on how to prepare, how to compete, and how to bounce back from adversity. At practice, he worked as hard as if he was a rookie, trying to prove himself every day. As you can imagine, that impressed his teammates right from the start. Dion's performances on game day were awesome. As a halfback, he'd run past defenders, run over him, step side, sidestep, explode, sidestep and explode again and again. Make one-handed grabs, and then leave the defense in the dust. You name it, Dion did it to the opponents. It always seemed like Dion had an extra gear to get to. I think I only saw him go at maximum speed one time, and it was during his senior year. There was a game against Hill that was getting close late, and we had a 3rd down and 10. We ran a toss play, and he was going for a 70-yard touchdown pass. The coaches looked at each other and basically said, "Did you see that?" Yes, he was special. Yes, he was special. The next week, we went up to play Exeter, who was undefeated and had 18 PGs on their team, and we won 37-27. When we got back home, people asked, "How'd you beat those guys?" I said, "We had Dion, who rushed for 299 yards and had 4 touchdowns." In his 2 seasons for Blair, Dion rushed for 2,221 yards for an average of 13.2 yards per carry and scored 40 touchdowns, not 2 dozen. He was named Maple and New Jersey Prep Player of the Year. Dion was also a tremendous defensive player. People forget about that. He was a great linebacker, corner, and strong safety and was making plays all over the field. After Blair, Dion signed with the University of Pittsburgh, just one of only 3 schools that offered him a scholarship. Many thought he was too small to play at the big-time level. This only fueled Dion, and he played with a serious chip on his shoulder, always looking to prove people wrong. One quick story. I used to always go to the Rutgers practices in August. Coach Schiano came over to me one time and asked if I thought if the Lewis kid was tough enough. I said, "Oh yeah." Rutgers passed on offering Dion a scholarship and in his freshman season, Pitt came to New Jersey and ran all over Rutgers. Dion rushed for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yes, Coach Schiano, he was tough enough. Dion made a lot of coaches regret their decisions. In his first year at Pitt, he rushed for 1,799 yards, only second to Hall of Famer Tony Dorsett. He was named Big East Offensive Player of the Year, Big East Rookie of the Year, and was 2nd team All-American. After another outstanding season at Pitt, Dion was the 5th-round pick of the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFL Draft. With some stops in Cleveland and Indianapolis, where he was hampered by injuries, Dion landed with the Patriots in 2015, where his career took off. He became a big weapon for the high-powered offense of the New England Patriots and a favorite target of Tom Brady. In 2017, he became a Super Bowl champion. He now continues to excel for the Tennessee Titans, and we look forward to seeing him run wild again this fall. At places like Blair, we just don't see players like Dion very often. In fact, I would say he is a once-in-a-lifetime player. He is a cut above the rest. Arguably the greatest football player to ever play at Blair. It's a great pleasure to invite Dion Lewis to Blair.
It's an honor to be here today. Larry just gave me an opportunity that if I probably didn't come here, I probably wouldn't be who I am today. Just being able to come here from Albany, New York at 16, live away from my parents, kind of not even know what I'm really getting myself into, middle of nowhere. So just extremely grateful for that. It took me in. I learned a lot. I made a lot of lifetime friends, Calby, Pat, Snarkman, guys like that. So Angel, he's not here, but just meeting guys like that who've always been a big part of my life. And just experience I would never be able to get back. Always look back. I haven't been here. My first time being back in 10 years, so I feel like I never left. Seeing a lot of familiar faces, Gerald, guys, definitely always feel like home to me here, even though, a little winter stuff in here. But just happy to be back and humbled that, they asked me to come back and put me in the Hall of Fame because I'm pretty quiet. Everybody knows that I don't really talk much, so this is kind of open right now. But I'm just happy to be here. It meant a lot. I have my daughter here with me now, my parents. So definitely having been back since they've been back. They came to every single game, home and away, while I was here for those 2 years. And just been a blessing ever since. Actually, they allowed me to go to Pittsburgh early in January, so I graduated early. I left here in January, started January 5th, I believe, that year, 2009. So I left here, played the season here, and went straight to college. I actually missed graduation, so I haven't graduated since 8th grade. I graduated so left college early, so I didn't do that yet. So I actually haven't graduated from 8th grade at St. James Home in New York. So thank you for keeping that tradition alive for me, Blair, and I make you walk again. But it's extremely humble, and I'm grateful to be able to have something called home here in Blair forever. And, like you said, that discount I got a daughter too. Just changed my life having my daughter. Now she's here. She's shy, probably not talk to anybody. She's shy, so definitely having a daughter. Just trying to keep up with everybody. With my friends from Blair, my daughter, busy time now. Got my family in Albany here, so just a lot to keep up. I try to talk to everybody when I can. I always answer my phone, so I'm sorry about that, some guys. But I try to keep up, and there's a lot going on. But I'm happy to be here. I will always make time to come back here to Blair, and I'm happy that you guys have welcomed me back. Thank you so much.
You just heard Coach Stone earlier tell us all of Dion's incredible statistics at Blair, as well as many achievements in college and in the NFL. There is no doubt that he is the most accomplished football player Blair has ever had. So, along with inducting Dion into the Blair Athletic Hall of Fame today, I would like to take this opportunity to honor him by retiring his number 33 football jersey. As we come to the end of the ceremony, I would like to thank everyone for coming today and sharing this wonderful time with the Blair Academy community. Congratulations once again to the Blair Hall of Fame class of 2019. Thank you again. And I'd like to end it with saying it's a great day to be a Buck.